Hello guys and welcome. Today is a tutorial video. In this video, I'm actually going to be going over how to do a sign pack for the mods, traffic control, and links to those will be down in the description. Okay, so in order to make one, it's a little bit more difficult than you think it is to do. Now, it's not as hard as most think. I'll leave the links down in the description to the useful signs pack and to this pack as well, so you guys can have a look at how I did it. This is just you may be looking at the sign pack tutorial GitHub that I linked down in the description, so you can follow along. I actually did you guys a quick favor here and made it a template for you guys. So I'm going to show you how to use that. So that way you can use the same exact code that I have, and all you have to do is change the values to your stuff. So you can just use template and create a new repository. And then select the name and stuff like that. So just like the name, description, whether you want to be public or private. I'm just going to call it test here, because I might delete it right afterwards. I'm going to make it a private repo. Test 1, 2, 3. There we go. Then you can create your repository. And what that does is after a few moments of time, GitHub will actually have this whole entire sign pack for you put in, and it'll be generated from, obviously, but that's fine. That gives credit to me if you're using the template itself. If you're doing it by hand, that's fine as well. You can just do it the other way. But yeah, I made it as a template that way. If you guys want an easier time doing it, all you have to do is click use this template, and this template will allow you to make your own sign pack from it. I figured this would be easier for you guys to follow along. So now it's going to get into the video. Some of the basics on how to get started. I'm going to go over how to add a sign that's normal without text, and how to add a sign that has one line of text. If you want more lines of text, you will have to look at useful signs. It's not hard to do, actually, but it's just too long to go through the process of how to. So again, links down below. You can apply the knowledge that you learned here to be able to understand and read useful signs. And now go ahead, and if you stay to the end of the video, I'll actually go through useful signs code so you guys can have an understanding of what it is and how to read it and apply it to your sign pack. We're gonna head into the sign pack tutorial folder and reload. These are going to be blank. Okay. So, you're going to start with a folder like this. Obviously, you're not going to have to get GitHub if you're not using GitHub for your sign packs. I recommend you do, because you can upload them and share them easier without Discord expiring your sign pack. But I'm not going to go into it, because I'm not going to... Can I get rid of that, please? Anyways, the first thing we need to do is decide how we're going to do it. Do you want to do a custom folder for everything and have it really hard, or just have folders where it's still really hard with just one name of the pack ideals? Now, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to do it like I did for useful signs. SPT underscore crosswalk. So I'm going to do one for the crosswalk, so you can have an idea of how the types work as well. SPT speed. Now, obviously, you wouldn't do it just for the sign itself. Obviously, you would group them together. Like, useful signs has one for law, one for markers, one for other, one for parking, one for road, one for shields, one for warnings, etc. And one for construction as well. So, we separate by categories. So, type is like a category. Now, you may be wondering, why have the SPT underscore crosswalk? Now, you can search it by SPT. So, for example, if I was to enter this in a new terminal, you do at SPT and get all the SPT signs. Like in useful, you can do at useful and get all the useful signs, or you can just do the full category and get just the category. So it makes it very useful to have the SPT underscore. Then the categories after the SPT underscore. Basically, the SPT underscore is the ID of the pack. So when you search it inside Minecraft, and again, you will see that when we upload the pack and test it. Because obviously, you should always test your science. Okay. So we're ahead. Undo the speed limit sign first, the hardest first. Why not? We'll paste it. This is gonna actually, we're gonna post everything in first, so I can show you how to edit them. My File Explorer is acting weird. It keeps wanting me to put me up there for some reason. Sign pack tutorial, crossbox, and let's paste the crossbox in. Okay. So we're gonna, now you're gonna see here, things are gonna happen. If we, and again, if you're using GitHub, add a git ignore to ignore some files that you may need to ignore, like ID files and stuff like that. Well, extract those. Okay, so first thing we need to do is make a new file and call it signs.json. This needs to go into the root of your sign pack. You add file to git. Now you don't want to ignore it unless you really don't want people looking at your code, but I recommend allowing it. Alright, so for the simple step, here, we're going to create the base directory. So we're going to add a name. Remember to put it into JSON format. If your editor doesn't automatically do that, then that's fine. Also, validation reasons. This editor obviously has validator. I'll go ahead and show you how to validate it as well if your editor doesn't have the ability, like if you're using Notepad, if you just do a code, doesn't really have it unless you have a program installed. So I'll show you how to validate your JSON as well afterwards. And I'll purposely put some errors in so you can see what happens. Okay, so we're going to call it SPT for now because it's just a tutorial pack, sign pack tutorial. Author. This would be your, actually, what is this? Your sign pack name. Here, because this would be the template for you guys. So this would be your username. Or name. Either or works for there. I just put my username usually. Next one is the pack ID. This is important. If you don't put this, it will not work. This is a simple UUID. Please generate this one. I'm going to show you a good site for UIDs. So you've got a UUID right here. UID, the link will be in the description for this as well. This generates you a random, you'll copy and paste it. Now some editors have plugins and stuff that you can download for UIDs as well. Like I have one where I could just replace a current one that's in there currently already. So all I have to do is hover over it and hit replace with random UID. And that will get me a new UID based on what I copied. So that's the best site for you if you don't have a program editor that like this that has that plugin ability. Anyways, next up is types. So the types will be simple. So the first type you have here is SPT crosswalk. This would be the crosswalks signs. Then SPT underscore speed. And then this would be the speed signs. Again, these are just the categories. Think types as categories. And the categories is what you created earlier with the folders and where your images are located for the signs. And make sure you put the sign in the right category because when you define the type, the category type, it will not be able to find it otherwise. Okay, next is the signs. So this is where all your signs, it's an array. It's an array of signs. And that's simple. enough. Okay, so the next part in this series, this part here, is how to add a sign. So we already add the images. Right now, the pack does nothing to add signs. It doesn't know where the signs are. We have to define the name and stuff like that too. So what we're gonna do is enter name. You gotta make sure you're in valid JSON format. It should all be strings. Actually, no. Sorry. We're actually gonna start with the ID. We'll put the ID first. So ID. This is the UI ID. So what I'm gonna do, since my editor has this, you will actually go to the generator. So what you could do is actually go here, cancel out the ad, and refresh the page and get a new UID. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and replace with new UID because it has the ability to do that. So I'm going to use it. Name. So the name of the sign, we're going to start with the crosswalk sign. So yield to peds left. Simple name. I'm not going to go into the description. You describe it the way you need to name it. The type is next. There's really no order to how you set up these object strings. By the way, you could put ID at the very bottom of this object and type as long as they're in that same query background. Okay, the type for this one is going to be the SPT crosswalk. Again, I'll explain why I do it that way. Okay, next one is going to be the front and back. So this is where the sign is located. So this is we're doing the front first, so we're going to want to copy the front's name. It's here. You just enter the file extension. This type here will handle the rest. It knows where to look for the files now. It knows which folder to go into. So we'll go into the SPT crosswalk folder, and then it'll. So basically, what that does is it goes in. So it looks into root first. It looks into the root directory where the signs.json. This is why it's important to put that in the root of your sign pack. So it looks in there. So it goes like this. SPT crosswalk slash peds.png. That's what it does to load the image. And we're also going to add a back as well to this. Now, this one we don't have to do anything else. It is done for the most part. Unless it's a half sign. Half's on the bottom half. Because useful signs, and I'll explain that with useful signs when we look at useful signs and how to read it and apply it. But anyways, that's all we have to do for this sign because this sign is set up. We actually can easily copy this sign and paste it in. Obviously, my editor automatically added the commas and stuff. You will need to add that yourself, obviously, on some editors. Okay, we're going to replace this UID with a new one. We're going to call it speed limit with custom text. There we go. Now we're going to change the type to be speed, so it looks in the speed folder. The SPT underscore speed. Now they're going to be using different here. So the front's going to be this one, and the back's going to be the default rectangle. And there we go. So you may think, oh, that's done. But the text doesn't get applied automatically. Where the sign pack doesn't know where to put the sign, the text of the sign at. So we need to actually define that by adding a text lines. Text lines is important. This is another array of stuff within the pack itself with us in this particular sign ID set. So text lines is a little bit complicated. So each object is a new text line. So the more text lines you have, the more better you got. I'm going to be horrible at explaining this probably, but I'll try my best. So for the first line, we're going to do label. And also include the doc to the sign pack guide as well from the traffic control GitHub for you guys, so you have an idea of how to. The same from that mod applies to ballistic traffic control, which is just a modified version that I did for this mod as well. So, anyways, so text lines is label. We'll go ahead and label it speed. So the speed you would like to go. X is the X position of where the text should go. I already have this defined as 8, so I'm going to do 8. This is where you may have to load it in multiple times, and I'll show you what I mean by testing it. Okay, so I have it. Actually, let's go ahead and do 8 out of 8 for now. We'll see where it lands. So this is the Y position. We're going to do 8 again. I already know the actual numbers, but again, I'm going to show you what to do and how to test it so you get the accurate information. Okay, width. How big do you want it to be? I recommend saying this appropriately. This is how long the text line is going to be. Now, if you're making a sign that needs multiple of these signs to work, for example, so like there's these sign packs that do overhead signs for signs. You need to do multiple to make that sign happen because they're huge. They're not just one sign, they're multiple signs put together into one. The width you may want to set to like 200, for example. Not allowed to go across the whole entire sign. Well, but for this, I'm gonna actually no. I'll show you what that does and why it works for multiple signs, and I'll show you an example of how it works with an actual sign pack. This will make it easier for others to use if you have multiple signs together. I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. Okay, so the max length. The max length is the max length of text the user is allowed to enter. Oh, and these numbers, so you don't put it in strings, please. Okay, anyways. So, the max length is the amount of text. So, this time you probably only want three text lines for max of 100 characters, for 100 miles per hour, etc. But again, for example reasons, I'm going to say 200 for now. But I'll change that in a moment with you, show you how to fix an issue and how to troubleshoot. X scale. I haven't really figured this one out, so I can't really explain it to you, but it is a needed thing. Again, if you want more information on it, you can probably read on the thing. I'm just going to set this to 5. I think this is the size of the text, if I'm not mistaken. There's also a Y scale. Again, I think this is me guessing. This is thinking that it affects the size of the text. I haven't really tested this. I just always set it to 5. Okay, so Halligan. I'm not sure what this does. I just have it set to center. I think this is where the text lines up for. I recommend centering it all the time because that just puts in the center of the sign and makes it more realistic. Everything in real life is centered for the most part. Then horizontal align and vertical align. I get it now. So these are the alignments. So this is where the text will be aligned at. I recommend being centered. And then the color of the text. Now, I'm gonna put some text on the screen here about how to do the color conversion. There'll also be a link in the description to what I use to convert hex to this color code style, because they're numbers and integers versions. For now, I know black is 0, so I'm going to just do 0, but you will want to look up your integer number for your hex code. And I recommend trying to keep it to Minecraft colors. That's the easiest way to avoid issues, because I'm going to be doing that for useful signs here in a few days, because what we're going through right now is an issue with text coming different colors, even though they're defined as 0. Anyways, so we officially have our 2 signs. And that's all you need for the text as well, by the way. And again, if you want a second line, you can do that as well. And I'll explain that when I go over with that. Anyways, time to test it. Now you can't just launch it from here. So now we have traffic control installed. The first thing we need to do is actually open the folder, because we need to put our sign pack somewhere. Now again, because I am lazy and don't feel like going back and forth, I'm actually going ahead and I closed it up by mistake. Okay, so we're into this. So we're in the mods tutorial. We're going to create a new folder and call it TC underscore sign packs. And we're going to head to GitHub. Respiratory, show and explore. And copy our sign pack. And come into the alright, please, and come into sign packs. Now this sign packs goes into the root directory where mods folder is located. After you have that, you can go into TC sign packs and paste. Now I'm gonna grab one more sign pack, so I can show you something. If I head into my world. This is just so I can show you what I mean. Signs, that's the one I know has it, right? Okay. So then we go to tutorials, sign packs, and I want that as well. Okay. So now you have those added. Your sign pack's in here. We're going ahead and play. Let it launch, do its thing. Oh, real quick, I do need to modify some profile options here. And give me more memory. I'm just gonna give myself 9 gigabits here. Not what I normally give, but yeah, you'll. I want to cancel that for a second and hit play again. Continue. Oh, I know it's already running. Okay. So now we're gonna launch Minecraft here and give it a go in a stroll. See how it works. What glitches we may have introduced with this pack. Okay, so it's loading. This can take long depending on how many mods you have. Obviously, we only have one mod, which is just a traffic control mod at this moment in time. So it doesn't have to load too much, so we should be fine. The only thing we don't have is some of the other stuff, which you don't need. So I'm just doing the bare basics here for now. Alright, single player, create new world. We're going to create it in a creative so we can have access to the signs. Okay, so we're gonna come here, grab a pole and a sign, and place down the pole on the sign. Now, obviously, there we go. Okay, so obviously we have signs. We're gonna search SFT. There we go. We have our signs. We're gonna test this one. This one we know it works. This one we just want to test. Oh boy. That's not where we want the text to be. And obviously, it goes over. I'll show you why. That's a thing. Now, so some sign packs. It's like if I do act good, this is why you do what I did. But anyways, some sign packs, in order to look right, and that's why I did the SPT thing, because then you can search up the pack's name and get the proper sign. So like here, if I didn't do this, it will look weird. So right now it looks weird because obviously here it doesn't make sense to have that long. I should probably fix that in my custom version of that. But we do the center there, and then good. So if you do that, then we only have to edit this one. This is why... Too long. Too long for the amount it says. This is why it's important to set your values correctly on that. Because then now, instead of having to edit each individual one and trying to make it line up, by default, it lines up, which is perfect. And I've so, but this doesn't work for speed limit signs, so obviously that's an issue. It's gonna go over the text if they enter too many lines. So we need to modify this code. Now we can keep Minecraft running, actually. That's the best part about this. So we're gonna change it now to the proper values, so 8. And then we're gonna change the Y to 12. That will bring it down to the proper position. Now we need to change the width. The width I found that worked was 7. Max length is 3. And everything else here is correct. Now again, you will change all these values based off of what you need it to be for your sign pack. We're gonna save. Now you do unfortunately have to go to sign pack tutorial. Delete this zip. And recreate a new one. Now these won't hurt it, the sign pack at all, but I recommend not adding them if you don't have to. Useful signs adds them because there's a readme to it and all that mess that I need to include into it. Okay, so once the zip creates, we'll rename it to SPT. Now before we bring this over to the tutorial sign packs folder, we need to delete the old sign pack here. More copy and paste. Now here's the cool part about traffic control is F3 on this, but F3 in the this button. F3 plus this button will reload the pack. And as you can see, it's now in the proper position, and the text editor works too, because now instead of being too long, it actually works. Now for the most part, people will just be that. Now I'm gonna go over some things in useful signs that you can apply some of that knowledge as well, because again that will be in the description. Okay, so useful signs, very simple in fact to use. So you have obviously the speed limit signs. Now I have some signs that have multiple text variables, like the double plaque, for example, that has double variables. Now we have the top plaque, again, half height is true. And then we should have the bottom plaque as well. There we go, the bottom plaque. There. Now obviously, I'm not 100% sure why this one doesn't have that, but if you add this is important. I'll show you what that does here now actually. So let me go to instances again, go to my world. Let's go ahead into the TC sign packs, and let's go ahead and get the useful signs pack put in. In fact, instances, actually easiest way of these to go here. No, right there, right here. Okay, so let's add useful signs here, and I'll explain to you in a minute here what that is. If we reload the sign packs, that new sign pack will be in. This is also how you can install sign packs as well easily without having to exit the game, which is nice. Okay, so speed limit signs, so at useful. So now we have everything from useful signs. Now, multiple text is very simple, but half height. So here's the bottom plaque. Don't ask me why it's named that way. I mean, that's a top plaque. Well, actually, it's named that way because technically it's the bottom of the sign, so. But yeah, you have that bottom plaque. So the top plaques are useful signs. Top plaque is this one. The half height does that. So instead of having a weird looking top half, you have that. The useful signs new placard also has that option in it. So if you add this on a text, it removes the top bar for the half placards. I recommend only setting it to true when it's an actual half placard sign. Now, be warned that you need to set it up properly too for that to happen. If it's in the center or whatnot, it may not work. I had that issue before in the sign pack, and it's not fun. Anyways, this is the sign pack for most use cases. Again, if you're reading this, that's how you understand it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. Again, links will be down in the description. The first link will be the guide to this, the wiki, to how to make a sign pack. Again, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.